You're scrolling through your family tree on a genealogy website. Each branch stretches back a perfect binary tree of ancestors: 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents. It seems so orderly, but here's the thing that genealogists have known for over a century: that tree is a lie. And understanding why might change how you see every person you've ever met, including yourself. The simple question, how many ancestors do you actually have? If you naively double the number each generation, by 10 generations you'd have 1,024 ancestors. By 20 generations, over 1 million. By 30 generations, over 1 billion. But there's a problem: there weren't 1 billion people alive 30 generations ago, so something has to give. In 1999, Yale statistician Joseph T. Chang published a mathematical model showing that the number of distinct ancestors doesn't double every generation. Instead, it plateaus because ancestors start appearing multiple times in your tree. This is called pedigree collapse. For you, this means your great-great-grandmother might also be your great-great-great-grandmother through a different line. The same people show up over and over. Think about it: every time you see a familiar name on your family tree, it's a reminder that your ancestry is more of a tangled web than a branching tree. The collapse is drastic. Consider the numbers: go back 30 generations, roughly 900 years, and you have over 1 billion theoretical ancestors. But the entire world population at that time was only about 300 million people. So you must share ancestors with everyone. In 2013, geneticist Graham Coop at UC Davis calculated that by 900 years ago, every person alive who has descendants today is an ancestor of every European. Your family tree collapses into a dense network of repeated names. If you're of European descent, virtually everyone in medieval Europe who had children is your ancestor, many times over. In 2002, a team from MIT and the University of Oxford, Rode, Olson, and Chang, published a landmark paper in Nature. They estimated that the most recent common ancestor of all living humans lived just 3,400 years ago. Going back about 5,000 years, every human alive at that time who left descendants is an ancestor of every living human today. That means the stranger you passed on the street yesterday is your cousin, sometime in the last few thousand years. So how many unique ancestors do you actually have? The answer becomes even more surprising when you consider the next study. Consider famous ancestors. In 2013, Peter Ralph and Graham Coop from UC Berkeley published a study in PLOS Biology. They analyzed DNA from thousands of Europeans and confirmed that due to pedigree collapse, any European who lived before 1000 AD and has descendants today is an ancestor of all living Europeans. Charlemagne is your ancestor, likely many times over, through multiple lines. Your family tree is not a tree but a dense thicket where the same historical figures appear again and again. And it gets even more surprising. In 2014, Graham Coop published another paper showing that your genetic ancestors, the ones who actually passed DNA to you, are far fewer than your genealogical ancestors. After 10 generations, you only carry DNA from about 150 of those 1,024 theoretical ancestors. Not only are your genealogical ancestors repeating, but most left no genetic trace at all. Your inheritance from the past is even narrower than your family tree suggests. Your DNA tells a story of only a select few. But some researchers urge caution. These models assume random mating across large populations, which isn't how humans have always lived. In 2015, a study from the University of Chicago led by geneticist Emilia Huerta Sanchez showed that geographic isolation and cultural barriers reduce the rate of pedigree collapse. For instance, individuals from isolated populations like indigenous groups in the Amazon may have more distinct ancestors in the recent past because of limited intermarriage with outsiders. This doesn't invalidate the overall pattern, but it adds nuance. Your specific ancestry depends on your family's history of migration and isolation. So what's the truth? On one hand, pedigree collapse is mathematically certain. You cannot have more ancestors than people who lived. On the other hand, the exact number of distinct ancestors depends on your specific ancestry. For most people of European descent, the number of distinct ancestors 10 generations back is likely between 300 and 500, far less than the theoretical 1024. What is universally true is that you share recent common ancestors with everyone alive today. This means that every person you meet is a distant cousin, and your family tree is actually a family web that encompasses all of humanity. So the next time you look at a family tree on your wall or on a screen, remember it's not a tree. It's a tangled web of repeated connections, stretching back to common ancestors shared with everyone you know and everyone you don't. The question isn't whether you're related to the person next to you, it's how many times over. And that's a connection that ties us all together in ways we rarely stop to consider.